Good evening. I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for joining us. We are following some breaking news right now. There is a large police presence near a church in the Arden-Arcade area. It's all happening on Wyda Way and Ethan Way, very close to Arden Fair Mall. We do have several crews on scene with live team coverage. I want to go out to our Van 2 with the very latest. Van, what can you tell us?
Well, Chris, this is a rapidly developing situation, and most of the information we are getting right now is from police scanner traffic. And what we are hearing is that there is an active shooter situation in that church on Wyda Way. Again, I want to caution, though, that this has not been confirmed by police authorities, just through the scanner traffic that we are hearing, some multiple casualties. So what you are seeing right now is that, again, that large police presence. We are seeing Sacramento Police, Sacramento Sheriff, and the SWAT team out here closing off a large perimeter near this church on Wyda Way. Again, we are on Ethan Way. This is just behind Arden Fair. A lot of police here. We also have the helicopter circling overhead, and just earlier moments ago, they were making an announcement to the people on the ground that if they were witness to the shooting on Wyda Way, to immediately call 911 as investigators are here. And according to traffic, I do want to mention too that we do believe that there is a suspect at large at this moment. Again, this explains the large closure, this perimeter around Wyda Way. This broke out about maybe just after 5 o'clock. So again, a large police presence. And again, Chris, I can't mention it enough, but this is a rapidly developing situation. What we are hearing, though, is strictly from 911 police scanner traffic, indicating that there is an active shooter situation on Wyda Way in a church on that street.
And Van, we have to stress that this is a breaking news scenario. Things are developing as we speak. They could change as we learn more, but set the tone for us about what you're experiencing. I understand that there are police helicopters above you, that you have several agencies responding there on the ground. This is why we are breaking into programming and coming on early to try to give people an idea of what is happening. It's very near Arden Fair Mall, a very busy area, especially at this time of day. Van, tell us again exactly where you are and what you know so far.
You're exactly right, Chris. This is a very busy area of Arden Arcade area, right behind Arden Fair. So several roads are closed. Ethan Way is closed at Ultra Arden Expressway. And if Miguel, the cameraman here, if you can swing by, there are a lot of folks here just really curious about what's going on, trying to find out why there are so many police officers in the area, why the helicopters are circling overhead, still trying to get that information. And we're here to tell you that based on police scanner traffic, we are hearing that there is an active shooter situation at a church on Wyda Way, and there may be a suspects still at large. So again, this is all based on police scanner traffic. We are still working on coordinating with law enforcement officials to get the exact details on what's happening. But as you can see, this is breaking right now. So it will be some time before we get in touch with law enforcement officials to confirm exactly what happened, what casualties there may have been, and what exactly all happened here. Chris?
Van, I know that you said that this is happening near a church. Do we know much about the church? For example, the name of the church, is it non-denominational? It's a very a tough time for so many across our world now when we think about some of the tragedies that we've been covering in just the past few weeks. What do we know about this church, if anything?
Well, right now there is only one church on Google Maps on Wyda Way, and that is the church in Sacramento. So that is about as much as I can tell you right now. Let me just look here. Okay, this was just the fire department texting me about a media staging area. So hopefully within the next hour or so, we will be able to get more information to our viewers at home, Chris.
Our Van 2 there on scene. Van, if you don't mind just stepping out and having your photographer begin to give us a live picture. That way we can stay on the scene and we can give people an idea of what is happening as we follow this actively breaking story with what we are hearing gunshots at an area church off Arden Way. This is on Wyda Way, very close to the Arden Fair Mall. We have several crews on scene and we are going to go now to our Giacomo Luca, who is also live there on scene. Giacomo, tell us where you are and what you are learning at your location.
Well, Chris, we're along Wyda Way, closest to Jamestown, and I do want to paint a picture of kind of what we're seeing here. The entirety of Wyda Way from roughly Jamestown, about 3 blocks down, has been completely shut off, taped off and blocked by police. They're not letting folks go in and out. Again, this is a very active scene, not an active shooter, but an active scene. Officials are working right now to try to figure out exactly what happened inside. But I'll tell you, the folks we're speaking with here on the scene, there's a number of homes and apartments living nearby. There's a lot of folks out on the street, many of them likely coming home from work, just getting off. And a lot of these folks say they didn't hear what happened over at that church, but we are trying to get some interviews on the ground. Again, I'm just going to point over here one more time to show you about halfway appears where we have a majority of those police cars sitting there doing their work now, as well as fire. Another thing I'll mention is that if we can, Xavier, pan up there to that helicopter as it goes past the tree here. That helicopter right up there was actually providing an announcement about 10 to 15 minutes ago when we first arrived, saying, if you know, if you witnessed, if you saw anything, what happened on Wyda Way, call 911. And so that message is being put out by police, certainly officials hoping to know exactly what happened here today as they work this active scene.
Our Giacomo Luca there on the ground working to talk to people nearby. This situation that we've been following there involving a possible shooting at a church on Wyda Way. Our Morgan Reiner is also there on scene. Morgan generally covers politics for us. We know that there's a very fraught political climate at this time. Morgan, are you starting to get any information one way or the other about this church or what we're learning about this shooting?
Well, the second I arrived here, Chris, I spoke to people standing along this sign, watching people and watching the action that's going on. And what they told me is that starting at 5 p.m., he was walking down this street, and that's when he saw the SWAT team go past him. He left to pick up his son. He came back 30 minutes later, around 5:30, and the police presence doubled. Now, I'm standing a few blocks away. You can see the police tape here keeping me back. So as the night goes down, the police lights, and they get brighter, that's what's really going to start to show you the extent of the law enforcement that we're seeing here. I have SAC PD right next to me. I was just told by SAC PD that Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, they're going to set up a media station at the Home Depot close by where we're going to get more information. But what I can tell you is that, like I said, they're keeping me a few blocks away. And if you look along the side here, they've blocked off some of the major roads. They're trying to keep people out of this area. A lot of people standing along the sides now trying to figure out what's going on. I'm going to try and head over to that Home Depot to get more confirmed information. But like you said, Chris, what I know right now is based off of just that one line that there's a shooting at a church. How many people are hurt, if there are any fatalities, that much is yet to be determined.
You know, Morgan, we've been hearing that this is right near the mall. Can you help orient our viewers for exactly where you are, maybe some landmarks that they might be familiar with in that area to help them understand just how busy this area is?
Absolutely. So right over here is Ethan Way. This is where all the police presence is taking place along Arden Expressway. So if you see to my left, I'm standing right at the In-N-Out that's in this popular intersection. Right down the road is the Nordstrom Rack, gas stations, a lot of popular stores. Like you said, we're right by the Arden Fair, so a lot of the popular chain restaurants are right around here as well, Goodwill. So this is a very active place. You know, we're in rush hour too, so whether or not these road blockages will affect that, So far, no traffic, but we are right in the middle of everything.
Our Morgan Reiner is there live. Stand by, Morgan, because we've got live team coverage to now as we work through what has happened there on Wyda Way. We're hearing about a shooting at a church. We're not learning much at this time about possible victims or a suspect, if that suspect is still at large or if that suspect has been taken down. We do have several crews there on scene. I understand that we have our Mike Duffy, who's also heading over to UC Davis Medical Center to try and get some information about any possible victims. We are fanned out all across the region because this is a story that we're going to be following throughout the evening. Our Giacomo Luca is there in the community trying to hear from neighbors, trying to get a better picture of what they are hearing as we wait to hear from police. I want to go out to our Giacomo Luca live now to get some more perspective. Giacomo.
Well, Chris, just moments ago, we spoke with someone who arrived here along Wyda Way, said that they actually go to that church. He didn't reveal what the name was exactly, but he said it was a very diverse Christian church, and he couldn't really provide any more info about that. He just told me that he came here after learning that some sort of an incident happened. Again, we had learned that there was some sort of shooting that occurred inside. Again, we don't have very many details, still trying to figure out exactly what is happening on the scene, but this is what you see on the angle from closest to Jamestown. Again, looking all the way down Wyda, we have CHP, a number of other law enforcement agencies like the Sac Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department, as well as a helicopter flying above. That helicopter just within the last 20 minutes saying if anybody has any information about what happened here, call 911 and provide those details because authorities are going to be looking for that as soon as they can to try to piece together what happened. Chris?
Okay, Giacomo, you stand by as well. Again, we've got crews fanned out there across the region. I want to go to our Madison Wade now. She's here in the newsroom. She's been working her sources, trying to get more information for us. Madison, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so right now, Chris, I can definitely tell you I've been talking to several detectives. They're my law enforcement sources telling me that this is not a good situation. Of course, as you can see, the massive police presence that is there right now just goes to show the scope of this investigation. I'm also hearing that there are multiple victims. We can't report how many at this time, but that is what we do know from our law enforcement sources who are gathering information on that scene right now. I also know that Sacramento County law enforcement chaplains will be responding to this scene, to this church on Wyda Way. Now, the chaplains are people who go in, who have pastoral background, who help victims and help families of those who are victims of crimes such as this. Of course, they help from small crimes to large shooting crimes like what we're seeing right now happening in the Arden-Arcade neighborhood. So I do know several chaplains are heading this way. Right when this started to happen, we were reaching out to our law enforcement sources and asking information. A lot of people were just hearing about it, but as you can see just how many dozens of police cars are there. This is the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department as well as the police department, Chris, responding to this situation. So again, what I can tell you is that several chaplains from our law enforcement agencies in Sacramento County are heading that direction right now to help with families of those who may have been either injured or killed during this situation. We do know there are multiple victims at this time, and that again is according to our sources with the law enforcement agencies in Sacramento County.